A very good evening to all of you, beta. Today we are going to discuss further on circulatory system. Till now we discussed many things. We discussed about different processes of circulation in different organisms. We talked about human circulatory system components. We discussed about blood grouping, blood clotting, and today we will discuss about the blood vessels and other parts of blood vascular system. So, blood vascular system is mainly made up of blood vessels and heart. So, let us talk about blood vessels today. The blood vessels can be of three types. One is artery, second is vein, and the third one is capillaries. Generally, in textbook, arteries are marked as red and veins are marked as blue, because due to presence of more oxygen in the blood of veins, the blood color looks slightly bluish black. Now, let us know about arteries. Artery and vein, one of them get originated from heart, arteries get originated from heart, and veins will go to heart. So you can see here, arteries will be originated from heart, then they are generally broader, so they cannot reach to each and every cell of the tissue. So what happens is they get divided to form arteriole, and then finally it will form capillary. The wall of capillaries are very thin, which promotes the easy exchange of gases. Similarly, these capillaries further fuse to form venules, and venules fuse to form veins. So the role of artery is to carry blood from heart to the other tissues, and generally they contain oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. You must have studied about this exception since you are studying it in grade 10. This exception is there because arteries always originate from the heart, and pulmonary artery is originating from heart and it is going to the lungs. As it is originating from heart, that's why instead of oxygenated blood, it is carrying deoxygenated blood because it is originated from the right ventricle of the heart. Artery small branches are known as arteriole. These are the three layers present in the artery: tunica intima, tunica media, and the tunica adventitia. So tunica intima is the innermost layer. As you can see, it is the innermost layer. In between this thick part is tunica media, and outside there will be tunica adventitia. So in case of veins, they will carry blood towards heart and they carry deoxygenated blood. Here also it is pulmonary vein because pulmonary vein carry the oxygenated blood and supply it to heart. As it is going towards heart, that's why it is called vein, although it is carrying the oxygenated blood, which is exception to the vein. Small branches of veins are called venules. And you can see in artery, blood pressures are generally high. In vein, it is low. And to fit into the tolerance level of the blood pressure, vein also has three layers from outside to inside: externa, media, and intima. But here the media layer is quite thin. Apart from that, vein has valves which control the flow of the blood. That's why if you compare the blood pressure in artery and blood pressure in vein, In vein, blood pressure will be always low. You know, doctors ऐसे देखते हैं, pulse check करते हैं. You all of you must have seen it. They actually feel the blood pressure in artery, not vein, because in vein it is very slow. These are capillaries. Capillaries are having very thin wall, and this is a single layered vessel. They don't have three layers. So next is structure of heart. I just wish to teach you via drawing it. Just give me some time to share the screen. So I will draw the diagram of heart and explain to you. It's a very easy busy diagram and can be drawn quickly. As you can see, I am drawing it directly in the screen. You can understand how easy it can be. So if you look into the structure of heart, this is the wall of heart. So this is the diagram of heart, very known to you. Can you help me labeling them? What they are? Can you tell me what is this called? Class? This is called superior vena cava. Okay. This is called inferior vena cava. So both of them are carrying the blood with more CO2 into this part of heart. This is known as right atrium. Atrium is also known as auricle. Atrium is also known as auricle. So superior vena cava is collecting the blood from the upper part of the body, and inferior vena cava is responsible for collecting the blood from lower part of the body. Okay. Is it all right, class?
Yes, ma'am.
So now blood will enter here. Okay. After entering here, then it will go to right ventricle. Okay. Now, in this case, the right ventricle and right atrium, in between them, there will be presence of a valve. What is the role of this valve? Can you give me the name of valve present between right atrium and right ventricle?
Ma'am, in right atrium there is bicuspid valve, and in left it will be tricuspid valve.
So, this valve which is present here, which is called bicuspid valve. As you can see, two openings are there present in these valves. So it's called bicuspid. Okay. Now, from right atrium, this blood will go. In between, there will be valves. These valves are known as semilunar valve. Why they are called semilunar valve? Because these valves are of moon shape. That's why we call them semilunar valve. Now, why we need to have these valves? Valves always make sure that blood should flow in one direction. So with the arrow, you can clearly see that blood will flow from right atrium. The moment it will pass from right atrium to ventricle, the bicuspid valve will shut down. So as it is shut down, now when the ventricle will contract and pressure is applied, due to closed bicuspid valve, it cannot go back to the atrium. Now it has only one way, it has to move further. So this is known as pulmonary artery. They carry this deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Okay. Now this deoxygenated blood will reach to the lungs. In lungs, there will be gaseous exchange and the deoxygenated blood will be converted into oxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood will get back to the heart. These are known as pulmonary vein. So they will come to the left atrium. Always when you draw the diagram, remember your left and right, you are not interested. Always place yourself at the side of book. And now decide the left and right. If I turn like this will be my left, this will be my right. Same is described here. So this is the left ventricle, left atrium or auricle. Now blood will go to the right ventricle, left ventricle. From that, it will go to biggest artery of our body, that is aorta. It is also called truncus aorta because from these the other arteries are there, and now this blood will be carried to the tissue. Okay, while it is passing through the left atrium to the left ventricle, in between there will be tricuspid valve. The role of this valve is to again prevent the backflow, and the most important thing is it is also called mitral valve because it has similarity with the flag of the Pope. You know about Vatican City, smallest city in the world. So it is under Pope, and this is having similarity with the flag of Pope. That is why it is also known as mitral valve. So that's all about the pathway of circulation and parts of heart. I request all of you to pay attention and let me know if you have any doubt in any of the part. Take your time to look at this and let me know if you have doubt. So I guess no one is having any doubt regarding circulation of blood and all. So we will get back to the PPT and we will look into the detailed structure of the heart. So heart is of mesodermal origin. That means during development, it is originated from mesodermal. And the organ from which it is originating is called mediastinum. Okay. This organ exists only in the embryonic development stage, and from that the heart is originated. The way we studied that lung is covered by pleura, heart is covered by a double-layered membranous muscular structure which is called pericardium. It is called pericardium. Now this pericardium is having various layers. You can see they enlarged the portion of pericardium and showed that there are fibrous pericardium which is present extremely outside. Then there is serous pericardium. Okay. Now this serous pericardium can be further subdivided into outer parietal pericardium and inner visceral pericardium. So I just wish to elaborate That outside there will be fibrous pericardium. Then there will be parietal pericardium, and after that there will be visceral pericardium. Okay. So there will be presence of pericardial fluid here in between the layers. So this is fibrous, this is parietal, and this is visceral. In between these two, there is a layer which is of pericardial fluid. Understood? So, what is the role of pericardium? It is actually the role of pericardial fluid is to reduce the friction between heart walls and the surrounding tissue. Similarly, if you can remember, in between pleura, you have like pleural fluid and all. So, let us move ahead. In each and every human heart, four chambers are there. Two upper atria, these are atria, and two ventricles are there. These are one and two. So the walls of cardiac muscle, heart is made up of specialized muscle, which is without any fatigue. It doesn't get tired easily. So the muscle of ventricle is thicker than the atrium. Why? Because atrial muscle need to contract to send the blood to ventricle, which is very near. But ventricle need to send the blood to lungs or to the tissues. Okay, so that's why ventricles have thicker wall, as you can see, than the atrium. And I must say that if you can note down here, the wall of right ventricle is thicker than the left ventricle. Why? Because right ventricle will need to send blood only to lungs, whereas left ventricle will contract and send blood throughout the body. So that's why the wall of left ventricle is thicker than the right ventricle. You can see the blood present in these two atrium will never mix because it is separated by interatrial septum. Similarly, there is a wall between two ventricles, and that is known as interventricular septum. So what are these septum? These are muscular membrane which is separating this body part. Let us move ahead. In between atrium and ventricle, whole part is not open. There is atrioventricular septum. In that septum, there is a small opening. Tricuspid valve will be there between right atrium to ventricle, and bicuspid valve will be present between left atrium and ventricle. Okay, and they will prevent the backflow. Whereas ventricle opening are guarded by semilunar valve. So this is the structure of heart. This is how it looks from the backflow altogether, how it looks, and this is the structure after cross section. So I almost mentioned about each and every part. Can you identify something which you cannot see? One is mentioned by Cordy tendony. So we will talk about that definitely. So in heart, there are nodal tissues or fibers. So these fibers are actually excitatory because heart is completely made up of muscle. And when this muscle will get excited, it will contract and expand to make the heart work properly. Okay. So here there will be sinoatrial node or SA node. It is present at the upper right corner of the right atrium. It is present here. Okay. Now there is AV node present at the lower left corner of the right atrium, and it is very close to the atrioventricular septum. So AC node is known as natural pacemaker. The pace of heart, that heartbeat will be faster, slower, it will be rhythmic. Everything is maintained by AC node. AC node will be controlled by the autonomous nervous system of the body, and it will share the impulse to the AV node, and then AV node will share it to the rest part of the heart by fibers known as Purkinje fibers. So you can see that there are atrioventricular bundle that will pass from atrioventricular septum, and it will go divide into two branches. One is going to left and right atrium, other will go to the left atrium. And finally there will be Purkinje fiber, and there are bundles which are called bundle of His. So bundle of His and Purkinje fiber are fibers which are making this impulse or excitement reach to each and every part of the heart. Okay, so there will be action potential. You will come across the information of this action potential in chapter number 21. This action potential is a potential difference. So you know about potential difference, I guess, due to electricity knowledge. So this potential difference will be generated without any external stimulus. That is, it is auto-excitable. When SA node initiate, it maintains the contraction of heart. So the action potential is 70 to 75 per minute. And this SA node is, that's why, called pacemaker. Now I wish to talk about chordae tendineae. You can see these fibers. I will point them out separately. Can you see these thread-like structures, beta, in the heart? These thread-like structure or chordae tendineae are the structure which is attaching the valves and controlling the movement of the valves. Any doubts regarding parts of heart? Look into the diagram and let me know. So now today we are going to talk about the cardiac cycle. So what is this cardiac cycle? We know that heartbeat is known famous for its discipline and rhythm. Okay. So in cardiac cycle, what happens? This is a very nice diagram of heart where you can easily see the chordae tendineae, the valves, the opening. Prominently section diagram of heart it is. So these are the phases of cardiac cycle. So what is cardiac cycle? The contraction and relaxation in heart muscle go hand in hand. First there will be contraction, then relaxation, then again contraction, relaxation. So it's going on like a cycle, which is called cardiac cycle. So here two new words you must be introduced with. First of all, diastole means expansion or relaxation. So when any atrium or ventricle is relaxed, it will be swelled or it will have maximum volume. Systole means contraction. Whenever there is systole, there will be contraction. So the whole phase of cardiac cycle will be having three steps. Joint diastole, that means at this stage both the atria and ventricle, both of them will be in diastole stage. Then there will be atrial systole, that means the atrium will be contracting, so blood will gush to ventricle, and once it is reaching to ventricle, the valves will be closed, and then there will be turn of ventricular systole, due to which the blood will go to the either pulmonary artery or to the aorta. So at this stage, tricuspid and bicuspid valves are open. So blood from pulmonary vein and vena cava. So pulmonary vein will be carrying blood from left to left atrium, and vena cava will carry them to the right atrium. So they will be reaching here. Okay. Semilunar valves will be closed at that time, and ventricle are also in the diastole condition. So obviously atrium needs to be in diastole condition, then only it is possible that the blood will rush into atrium. Now SA nodes will generate one action potential. As a result, both of the atrium will be contracted. This is called atrial systole. अब आपने एक बैलून के अंदर गैस भर के रखा है या पानी भर के रखा है, बलून को आप ऐसे दबाओगे तो पानी उसका जो ओपनिंग है उससे बाहर आएगा. सेम occur in case of atrial systole. The blood will gush from left atrium and right atrium to the ventricle. Okay, and this will increase the blood flow by 30%. Now there is a question. If valves are open and both atrium and ventricle are in diastole position, some blood must be directly going to this part, that is ventricle. Yes, some blood will be definitely going, but it's not in much speed or volume. When the atrium contract, the flow of blood will be increased by 30%. Now, SA node generated the action potential. From action potential generated by SA node, this action potential will reach to the AV node and AV bundle, atrioventricular node and atrioventricular bundle. And bundle of His will transmit it to the ventricular muscle. So there will be contraction of ventricle, which is known as ventricular systole. During the time ventricles are contracting, atrium will again go back to the diastole stage. That means they will expand. Now ventricular systole will increase the pressure of ventricle. So bicuspid, tricuspid valve will be closed, so that ventricular pressure, due to ventricular pressure, the blood should not go to atrium. Now due to this pressure, blood doesn't have any other way to go. जैसे दरवाजा एक ही डायरेक्शन में खुलता है, वैसे ही bicuspid, tricuspid valve can open in only one direction. Okay, so now semilunar valves will be opening and blood will go to the directly to the pulmonary artery, and from right ventricle it will go to the pulmonary artery, and from left ventricle it will reach to the aorta. So now once the ventricle is able to push all the blood into these two parts, semilunar valve will prevent the blood flow, ventricle is empty and it will diastole. So at the end of this point, both the ventricle and atrium is in the diastole position. Now again the atrial systole occur, ventricular systole occur, ventricular diastole occur. Both of them will be in diastole stage. So this is the way the whole cardiac cycle will go on. Okay. So generally one cardiac cycle is occurring or it's taking 0.8 seconds and our one heartbeat is equal to one cardiac cycle. And normal heartbeat is average 72 per minute. Okay. So any doubts regarding cardiac cycle? So we observed the pattern of cardiac cycle. Now we will know about the strokes volume and cardiac output. So per minute, the amount of volume of the volume of blood that is coming out per minute of heart, it is known as cardiac output, and uh, the blood volume that is coming out of atrium is known as strokes volume. So we all know that in heart there is a sound called lub dub, lub dub. So why these sounds are created? The first sound lub is due to the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valve, and the second sound dub is due to the closure of semilunar valve. So each of the heartbeat which we hear about lub and dub, they are combination of one heartbeat. That means one cardiac cycle. Now there is a machine through which we can measure the activity of heart. It is known as electrocardiograph or ECG. You know, we talked about the excitation of muscle and action potential. So if the muscle of heart is excited enough, in that case, the excitability of the muscle can be measured by using an instrument. So the electrical activity in the heart, that when there is increase in the potential difference, when there is decrease in the potential difference, can be measured by using this instrument. अब एक क्वेश्चन जनरली बच्चों के दिमाग में आता है when we talk about ECG, that if in our body we are having flow of current which can be measured by our ECG, then why we are not getting shocks? Do you think it is a valid question? First of all, it will be flow of generally positively charged ion, not electrons directly. Second thing is, it is very mild. So the question is, if it is very mild, then how it can be recorded? Because these instruments have ability to magnify, or rather to say amplify the signal produced by this signal produced by this our heart and convert it into a depictable image. So if you want to do ECG of a patient, you need to connect the machine with 3 electrical leads. So these leads are receptor of the excitability. So one of them will be in each of the wrist, okay, and other one will be at the left ankle. So you can see here, or you can put it in the wrist and in the left ankle. So ECG image will be like this. For us, novice people, it is useless gibberish. We cannot understand what it is saying about health of your heart. But yes, doctors are expert in understanding this Ada Teda line, and they can predict about the health of a person. So in each ECG graph, there are areas. Okay. So this part is known as P wave. It is talking about depolarization. See, in the membrane of muscle cells, if the polarity is maintained, that means difference in potential difference is there, then we call it polarized. If that is not there or minimum, we call it depolarized. So at P stage, the excitation is depolarized. You will learn in detail about this polarization, depolarization, action potential as I mentioned in chapter 21. So this depolarization, see, when muscle need to contract, there should be action potential. And once the action potential is gone, muscle doesn't want to do any action. It wants to rest. And that is the time it will relax, which is the comfortable position for the muscle. So in depolarization stage, the atria will be relaxed. Then there is a peak. You can see it is made up of Q, R, and S. This is representing depolarization of ventricle. That means the ventricle will be contracting. There will be P wave. I'm sorry, P wave will be about atrial systole. That means contraction of ventricle. It will be ventricular systole. That means contraction of ventricle. And there will be T wave. This is the T wave. That is presenting the repolarization of ventricle. Okay. So there is a polarization. That means a specific potential difference. It is disturbed and the atria and ventricle is showing the systole. Okay. So if the peaks are too close to each other, like here you can see, you can say the person is having faster heartbeat. And if it is slow, peaks are very distant from each other, it is having slow heartbeat. If there is no specific interval between the peaks, you can see the person is having arrhythmia. Arrhythmia. Why arrhythmia? Because rhythm is not maintained. And this fastest and slowest is known as brachycardia and tachycardia. Bradycardia and tachycardia. Okay. So why we call our circulatory system as double circulation? Because circulation is called double because twice in our heart it is coming. One the carbon dioxide is burnt and one the oxygenated. That's why we are having double circulation. So it will include pulmonary circulation where blood is reaching to the lungs. Another is systemic circulation where blood is reaching to the tissue. So this is the flow chart that deoxygenated from right blood from right ventricle to pulmonary artery, then to lungs. It will get oxygenated to pulmonary vein and left atrium. And systemic circulation includes oxygenated blood from left ventricle to the aorta, then arteries, arterioles, capillaries, tissues, then deoxygenated blood from tissues. It will go to ventricles, veins, vena cava, and to the right atrium. Okay. So this systemic circulation provides the nutrition, not only oxygen and carbon dioxide. It will provide the nutrient as well as it is responsible for excretion or removal of excretory substance also from different parts of the cell. So apart from that, there are systems called hepatic portal system where which includes the hepatic portal vein that will carry blood from the directly from intestine to liver. Why blood should not go to heart and then come to liver? Beta, what problem it will be? Why blood is directly going from intestine to liver? Any idea, anyone? See, blood that is coming out of intestine have absorbed food material, and liver is known for controlling the assimilation and absorption. So, if that blood coming out of intestine will directly go to heart, heart may have some deposition of food material, which is not good for heart. That's why it is having separate system called hepatic portal system. There is coronary circulatory system. Obviously, the heart also require oxygen. It also requires food, and it produce excretory system substances which is produced by each and every cell of our body, which needs to be removed. So this coronary circulatory system is associated with the veins and arteries of heart. Their goal is to supply the heart cells oxygen, CO2, and finally, their goal is to provide the heart cells the food and also remove the toxic substance from there. So there are regulation of cardiac activity. I told you we have in autonomous system parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve. So sympathetic nerve of autonomous nervous system, the abbreviation is AMS. It will increase the heartbeat by increasing the strength of contraction and cardiac output, whereas parasympathetic will decrease the activity. There are adrenal medullary hormone which increase the activity of heart. You know, adrenaline is known as the system or the hormone which will increase always the heartbeat and all. So next is lymphatic system. We will finish this last topic and conclude today. That lymphatic system will be made up of lymph vessels and lymph nodes. So blood passes through capillaries and some tissue fluid doesn't go to blood, they will come to the lymphatic system and form a separate circulatory system called lymphatic system. So how they work? They are not separate. They are work in association with the blood. When blood capillaries seep some water and soluble substances come out of plasma to the intercellular space of tissue, which is called interstitial fluid. And there will be some addition of mineral, and then this fluid will come and form the lymphatic system. Lymph is a colorless fluid and it doesn't have hemoglobin, but it has lymphocytes, that is WBC, which is very, very useful to fight against diseases. You will learn more about lymphoid organs in grade 12. So the main function of lymph is the middleman between blood and tissue, and it carries the plasma protein synthesized in the liver to blood. It's mainly responsible for digestion, carrying the digestive fat. You know about lacteal, which is present near the villi, which will be very much efficient in carrying the digested fat molecules. And most important thing is it is responsible to give us protection against diseases because it is full of WBC, that is lymphos. So like everything, circulatory system also have disorders. So first disorder we are going to talk is about blood pressure. Blood pressure जो होता है ये सब में होता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम में मुझ में नहीं है, बट इसकी जो प्रेशर है दैट इज 120, 80. 80 is when the atrium ventricle is at diastole position. So pressure will be obviously low. And at systole position, it is 120. ये normal है. अब अगर 120 से ज़्यादा हुआ, we will call it high blood pressure or hypertension. अगर कम हुआ, then it is called hypotension or low blood pressure. तो क्यों, इससे क्या प्रॉब्लम है? अगर किसी को हाई ब्लड प्रेशर हुआ तो कॉन्स्टेंटली ब्लड वेसल्स के थ्रू ब्लड की फ्लो बहुत ज्यादा होगी, बॉडी को अननेसेसरी वियर एंड टियर होगा व्हिच इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, एंड इफ समटाइम प्रेशर इज टू मच द blood vessels can break and a person can have stroke. You can see normal one, blood pressure is increasing, and finally it is reaching up to a permissible limit. A person can die. So a person affected by hypertension should avoid fatty food and salts, because many a times it is observed due to increase of the fatty food, the arteries and vein lumen, मतलब उसके अंदर जो hole रहता है through which blood pass, it has layers of deposition. So if the diameter, the active diameter, बाहर से देख के कुछ पता नहीं चलेगा, अंदर आप कट करेंगे तो in normal case this much diameter should be, in these cases there will be deposition, so obviously there will be reduction in the space. So the hole will become very small and the pressure will be too high, and this will affect the other vital organ of the body. So a person with high blood pressure should always go to doctor, take medicine and prescribe a lifestyle. They should follow the prescribed lifestyle with proper food habits and other habits also. Here, coronary artery disease, which is also known as atherosclerosis, calcium, fat and cholesterol and some fibrous tissue get connected into the, or it deposits into the wall of the coronary artery. So what is coronary artery? You know, coronary system is responsible for carrying blood to heart. So if these these arteries are blocked or their lumen is narrowed, then obviously that will affect the amount of blood that should reach to the heart. And if it is not done, then there can be various problems faced by heart. What is angina? Angina pectoris is something which is caused by acute chest pain if there is oxygen deficiency. So atherosclerosis can be one reason. So improper blood flow may, if middle-aged or elderly person is there, they will have an acute chest pain which can cause heart failure, where inability of heart to pump blood to the body occur. Okay, here in that case, lungs will first get affected, because lungs is ready to send the blood to the body, but it's not receiving the blood to purify. Okay, there can be cardiac arrest. It is an electrical problem. Many a time angina and cardiac arrest is students get confused, it's not same. Here, due to problem in the muscular excitability, heart do not follow the cardiac cycle and it will stop beating. So a person can have cardiac arrest and finally can be having heart attack. Okay. So that's all from my side today. We finished with this chapter. Next day we will discuss the question answer. Any question from your side, beta?
No, ma'am.
Okay then. We will conclude this lecture here. Bye to all of you. Bye.